Hockey Association tonight. Let's head up to the 6 in Toronto. The Miami Heat are in town to take on the Toronto Raptors. This line overnight, at least at FanDuel, is -2.5. But now you're seeing most outlets, Joe, -1s and -1.5s across the board. But we do have a tasty total in this one, 239.5, Joe. Heat, Raptors, playoffs. What's that spread line tonight?
Well, we're in it, right, the final week of the regular season, Donnie, and there is a lot at stake in this game here north of the border as these two teams are going to get ready. It's the first of two straight games that they're going to have here against one another, and you got Toronto sitting at the number 7 seed right now in a very crowded Eastern Conference standings, Donnie, because there is not a lot separating the 6 seed, which is out of the play-in, and the 7 or 8 seed, for that matter, even 9 seed with Orlando. So there is a lot here at stake. And, of course, Miami wants to get it going heading into the postseason. So Miami is healthy, it looks like, here tonight. Norm Powell, whatever that respiratory issue he was having, appears to be better. So it looks like we'll have a full complement here for the Miami Heat. They've battled these two teams. I don't know that there's a lot separating these two, Donnie, and I think maybe the best way to look at this is I wouldn't expect a whole lot of defense. I think we're going to see a whole lot of offense here tonight. I would not sweat out an under in this game.
Yeah, high total on the board, but actually not even the highest total. There's a game tonight at 249.5. Yeah. The NBA. Let's get to the next one here. 8 o'clock, talking about jockeying for position here in the Eastern Conference like we just did here with the Miami Heat and the Toronto Raptors. We got a good one. The Hornets traveling up to Boston to take on the Celtics here. Line overnight, Joe, right around 6 in the marketplace, but we do see a slight change as the favorite Boston Celtics go from 6 to -5.5 at most outlets here. 219.5 is the total. Hornets, Celtics, Boston. What's that spread line?
Well, and as I'm sitting here, Donnie, I'm watching the board light up right now with Charlotte money coming in. So I'm even seeing some 4.5s popping up here. And it makes sense, right? Because what exactly are the Celtics playing for here? What's the motivation the final week besides don't do anything stupid, given the fact that Detroit solidified and locked in the number 1 seed last night with their win. So they're locked in. There's really nothing for Boston to do except sit back and wait for the postseason at this point. So the Hornets, on the other hand, again, they're in that whole play-in area there that they've got to keep winning as many games as possible, but could be maybe one of the greatest turnarounds outside of the Clippers this year that we have seen. I think it makes sense the money's coming in on the Hornets. That's the way I would look in this one.
We got some reverse line movement late tonight. That's special, Joe. We love to talk about the 11 o'clock game, which nobody will watch. And the NBA is like, you know what? It's cool. No ratings here for a big game. We love to see it here. Rockets going to take on the Phoenix Suns, Joe, overnight. We had the Rockets at a lot of outlets about -2, -2.5 favorites here. Not anymore. You see the graphic. The Phoenix Suns, -1 to -1.5 across the board, and a total of 220.5. Rockets, Suns out in the desert.
And finally, Kevin Durant gets the return to Phoenix here. They played back in November, Donnie, but he wasn't with them and wasn't able to play. So he'll be in this game here tonight. But interesting, right? Because the Rockets have won 6 in a row. They've won 8 of 10. And let's face it, it's not far-fetched for them to move up this week to the number 3 seed in the Western Conference with 4 games left here. And the Suns had a rough road trip, man. Let's be honest. It was not good for them. They have not been good on the road, but they have been very good at home here. So don't trust the Rockets as a favorite on the road. But the good thing is, Donnie, they're not a favorite here on the road. Phoenix is the home favorite, which is why it's got me leaning towards the Houston Rockets here.
Sitting here in the month of April, hoping that the weather starts to change for the better, Joe. Let's flip it over to Major League Baseball. Why are we bringing this up? We take a look at some action here between the Padres and the Pirates. Oh, Paul Skeens is on the mound. You see that favorite here, about -145, -155, depending where you're shopping at. How about a total of 6.5? But did you know, Joe, this game will be played temperatures in the 30s. 2 things to worry about. If Paul Skeens has it going, hey, swing in the back. Oh, my hands hurt. Or is the A's struggle in the really frigid temperatures something to keep an eye on? The favorite here is Pittsburgh, and rightfully so with Skeens on the mound. But frigid, cold temperatures, Joe, in Pittsburgh. What's your spread line here?
Yeah, and you want to know what's funny, Donnie, is the Padres have never, ever seen Paul Skeens. How funny is that?
Wow.
So that doesn't shock me here. But again, let's not bury the lead because the guy going for the Padres is their ace as well with Pivetta. So Pivetta going up against Skeens is kind of the pitching battle we all want. I don't think it's a shock, Donnie, given the temperatures, that this thing has dropped under 7. And I think we have a first 5 around 3. That doesn't shock me either. But the Pirates are coming off being shut out last night by the Padres 5-0. So I don't know that we're getting a ton more runs today with these two guys.
First pitch will be in the 40s here in Boston, Joe, and quickly dropping down into the 30s as well. Jacob Mizorowski will be on the mound for the Brewers. He's their ace. Garrett Crochet, the lefty here, the ace of the staff here for the Boston Red Sox. This line opened up in the -160s. You see the graphic coming down a little bit into the -150s, depending on where you're shopping at, and a total that is 7 across the board. Cold temperatures in Beantown tonight. Aces on the mound, Joe. What's the spread line here that we're looking at?
Well, it was cold last night. It didn't stop the Brewers from putting up an 8 spot against this Red Sox pitching staff. I mean, it's 2-8 the Red Sox are right now on the season. And I don't know that it's going to get any better here tonight. Although, listen, Miz has had some walk issues in the past here, but seems to have worked on the control a little bit. And Crochet is supposed to be the ace, the stopper, right? Except he hasn't. They're 2-8. He's not stopping anything except winning that first start of the season on the road. Outside of that, it's not been good for the Red Sox. They need Crochet in a big way, but I ain't laying that number with Boston. Absolutely not.
They do. By the way, some interesting numbers last night. Like, who would have thought this? Max Scherzer would start a game here and absolutely get shelled and leave the game with forearm tightness as the Dodgers continue to roll over Toronto. And then, of course, the Philadelphia Phillies on the left coast last night down 4-0. Actually staged a comeback, and Bryce Harper is hitting the baseball now. Love to see it, Major League Baseball. But as we said again, cold temperatures, buyer beware. Great spread lines here for tonight's action. We got more to go right here on the Early Line SportsGrid Network.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin.
You know what I'm saying? You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the season, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done. What?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manute Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
National champions, your Michigan Wolverines with a 69-63 victory over UConn. And as we said yesterday, Joe told you, you know what? UConn might not win this basketball game, but stop overlooking them because it was a race to the window to get as many bets as you can in on Michigan. Now, they won the game, but didn't cover the spread. And also, in a title game there, betting the under, usually pretty profitable. Easily stays under the total, Joe. Ellie Cadeau's 19 points, the MOP of the tournament, and Michigan has a national championship.
You know, it's funny watching that game last night, Donnie. I don't know if you got the same feeling, but it really did look like a game of men versus boys. The size
Giants
of Michigan is just absolutely unbelievable here. But again, toughness. You got to give UConn credit for hanging. They played exactly the kind of game they needed to play in order to give themselves a chance to win, at the very least cover, and they did just that. Neither team shot well. Because both teams were laying it all out there defensively. It was a good one to watch, but it just never felt like UConn was going to win the game. It felt more like, will they stay within the number in the second half more than anything else?
It really did at this point. Let's get to the post-game press conferences here and hear what the coaches and the players had to say.
Yeah, what a way to wrap up the 25-26 college basketball season with this group. I want to begin by thanking last year's team. At Michigan, we came up a little bit short, but those guys laid the foundation, established an identity for us, and also helped attract these guys to come in and chase this dream together. And secondly, I want to thank our FAU guys, the team and staff, that really, this is one time I'm making it about me, that really helped us grow together. And that was the first time I'd been with a group that was truly sacrificial, where we were about each other. And because of that, we all improved so much. And this team's done the same thing. It's when you bring a group this talented together and they decide from the beginning that they're going to do it this way, and they never waver and they never change. That's probably the most uncommon thing in athletics now, and it's a tribute to their character, but also those in their circles around them, their coaches, their parents, their mentors. They allowed these guys to give themselves up for the group, and it's never guaranteed, but for these guys to cut down the nets after all they sacrifice is pretty special.
Yeah, number one, congratulations to Michigan. Just incredibly talented, incredibly imposing team, physically, obviously well coached, great staff. Just overall, just a tremendous university. With what they're able to accomplish in sports. So obviously, for us, it's tough. Again, we did not come here for watches. We came here for rings, and it's hard to be. I'm not real emotional. Players are crying a lot more than I am. It's hard to be upset with your team. We lost the game because we missed. We missed. We didn't make enough shots. But it's hard to be upset with your team when they get 22 offensive rebounds versus that team. I mean, that's just how hard we just played to hold, that team to 38% from the field. But obviously, I just thought, the guys picking up 2 fouls in the first half, losing those 3 guys when we thought had a great chance going to the locker room with the lead, really put us in a bad spot. But it's hard to be disappointed in your team when they fight so hard.
Huskies started out slow, Joe, then took the lead, thought it would make it interesting. I think Hurley brought up a really good point there, Joe. Heading into the locker room, you always want the lead. If you didn't have the lead when you had it, it's sort of a downer heading into the halftime show. And I thought that's what the difference in the game was. But as he's right, Joe, physically imposing, that's the words that you use for the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, I think he called them a bunch of monsters over there. They really were, Donnie. But this game was won at the free throw line with what Michigan did. And, when you've got nearly, almost 2-3 to 1 on opportunities at the free throw line, and you make them, and you're not hitting threes, that's how you win a championship. And that's exactly what Michigan did.
How about this? Michigan obviously won that game 69-63, Joe, their first championship in 37 years, but also shocking here. The Huskies never lost in a title game, lost that game last night, Joe's, but as we said, put up a yeoman's effort, making sure they got that cover.
Everything they needed to happen happened, and like you said, they just didn't make enough shots. That was the problem for UConn.
Didn't make enough shots as we flip it over to the NBA. Not playing in enough games to maybe be an MVP or for a first-team All-NBA player. Let's find out who those players are. Coming up next on the early line.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the season, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done. What?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't you be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manute Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
NBA news and notes, big injuries, and some even bigger spreads tonight in the association for a Tuesday. But let's start with those Chicago Bulls. When Michael Jordan in the late 1990s decided to hang it up and say, you know what, I'm done with the Chicago Bulls, 6 championships in 7 years, I'm going to move on. Bulls probably like, we'll rebuild a little bit, and eventually we'll get back to playing Chicago basketball. Yeah, it feels like 30 years since Chicago's played any basketball at this point, and it looks like we're going to hit that reset button once again. Why? Yahoo Sports with a tweet breaking. The Bulls have fired EVP of Basketball Operations Arturas Karnosivas and General Manager Mark Eversley per Shams Charania here. Reset button once again in Chicago. Don't they reset every couple years here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Reinsdorf... For, the history of the Chicago Bulls with what you guys used to be and how you be and what you have become is just laughable here. I don't know what took so long, Donnie. I really, really don't. 6 seasons under this front office here, and it took you that long to figure it out? Just awful on so many levels.
It really is. Like, you take a look at, like, basketball starved and craving cities. Like, Chicago is one of them. New York is the other. New York never wins a championship, and now neither does outside of you had the single best player in the history of the sport. Once you lost him, you're an insignificant franchise. Kind of crazy how that works here. But I'll tell you this. The Detroit Pistons and the bad boy era, they used to win a lot of championships, used to cause a lot of problems in the 80s and the 90s. Could they be back for a playoff run? Well, they won't be unless Cade Cunningham comes back. And by the way, he's nearing a return and could be back before the playoffs begin, says Shams Charania. How about that, Joe? Piston time.
Well, And that's good news. I mean, because Donnie, I would hate that you dominated. So he was a huge part of why the Pistons locked in the #1 seed in the East. I mean, who are we kidding? I mean, and then to have to go at it without him would be a shame. Because you want to be 100%, Donnie, when you attack this, because nobody has gone from rags to riches more than the Detroit Pistons this year. So I'm glad. I mean, I love Cade Cunningham, and he really is the engine that makes that team go. So it'll be great to get him back on the court. For the NBA, it'll also be great.
Getting him back on the court, but also one of those young, shining superstars in the NBA on a great, young, talented team, the San Antonio Spurs. Here's a clip here talking about Wemby's injury from last night.
Ooh. First things first, what do you know about Victor? What can you tell us?
Nothing. That's not even placating anything. I'm not sure. I know he came back and he just didn't finish. And so at halftime, I was told he wasn't coming back. And I, honest to God, I haven't heard anything else up to this point.
So clearly no sense of where it stands going forward.
No, I think it would be a positive that he felt like he could come back, and he played the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half. So that's a positive from my perspective, but I have nothing.
Now, Joe, I have no idea who that guy is. That could be the coach, could be the general manager, could be a fan they pulled out of the stands answering some questions, but love the voice here. That's the voice of somebody that matters, Joe.
Yeah, it is, and that is the coach. And I got to tell you, it was halfway in the second quarter, Donnie, when he hit the floor, and it wasn't so much the shoulders; he was holding like his ribs. Yeah. And I think that was what they were concerned with, was a rib contusion. I don't know what that is, but it looked like he not so much the shoulder as it was that he might have had a hard time breathing there. So hopefully it's nothing, no, and he's able to get back out there.
Come on back, Wemby here. And by the way, if we check a look at some of those award seasons here, sure, 65 games will impact if you can win the MVP. But how about Rookie of the Year, Joe? We talked about it so many times already, whether it's predictive markets, FanDuel, DraftKings, whoever it might be. That market was heavily shifted during the season from Cooper Flagg to Con Knipple. Now back to Cooper Flagg, Joe. At a -210 price, Knipple is the dog now at a +150. Back and forth, back and forth. Is there time, Joe, for another back and forth, or have the odds makers and the bettors spoken here? It's going to be Cooper Flagg.
And you know what's ironic about that, Donnie, is that, listen, Cooper Flagg, the all-around game is just ridiculous. But the weakest part of his game is the three-point shooting, which is what Con Knipple is an absolute sharpshooter on. So he's got the all-around game. He's not a great three-point shooter yet, but Con Knipple is all about the three. So if we're talking Rookie of the Year, I tend to think that Cooper Flagg qualifies and a deserved favorite.
Prime time game tonight. Ooh, this should be on NBA Center Stage. Now, one, they decide to bury at 10:30, and maybe that's a good thing. When you talk about the Thunder on the road to take on the Lakers, it's Luka, it's LeBron, it's Austin Reeves, it's SGA, MVPs across the board. Could this be a rematch that we see in the playoffs, Joe? You know, this line opened up at -13 overnight. You said, boy, that's a lot. People probably might be taking the Lakers. No, they're not. Look at today, this morning, Joe. The Lakers getting 16.5 points from OKC. And by the way, it's not even a road game. The Lakers are at home, Joe.
Yeah, and it's not like OKC's got a ton to play for here either, Donnie, which is hysterical. I mean, 3 games left? I mean, they have, a 3-game lead on San Antonio? So it's... and now, Wemby may not play, and this is going to be embarrassing across the board here for the Lakers. But I don't think OKC cares. I think OKC, any chance they can go into LA and make fun of the Lakers, they're going to do it. And I think that maybe 16.5 is not, it's not high enough, Donnie. Something tells me this has got 30-point blowout written all over it.
Yeah, taking a look, too, at the betting markets here, like 7 out of every 10 tickets still coming in here on OKC, which is why you had an overnight line of 13 ballooning up to 16.5. You got to win this game by 17 points on the road to cover this number. We'll see if that happens tonight. We previewed it in our spread lines earlier today, Joe. The Hornets are in town to take on the Boston Celtics. Celtics ticket count around 65% in their favor. That line, Joe, opened up at 6. Now we're seeing 5.5, 5s, and as you said, even seeing some 4.5s in the marketplace. The Charlotte Hornets, one of those teams, it's almost like you can't quite figure out if you want to play them or not play them, because when they get hot from the three-point line, that's the ultimate equalizer. They're going up to Beantown tonight, Joe. Should be a good one.
Yeah, it will be a good one here. I mean, obviously, the motivation factor for the Celtics now that Detroit has kind of locked it up there, and with that win last night, they're the number 1 seed. You've got Boston's going to fit right into the number 2 seed, and they are off and running here in the final week. But Charlotte is still battling here, and they have been, Donnie, and we've pointed it out. I mean, the best team since that calendar turned to 2026. They went from laughing stock to I don't want to play them early on in the postseason, Donnie. So Charlotte's still got a little something to play for here, and it's not a shock that they're getting the money, the early money here, pushing this line towards them.
Let me ask you about this game next year. And it's an 11-point favorite. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. The game I don't care about, Joe. But we just talked about the odds market here to try to win a Rookie of the Year. Your coaches understand it. Your players understand it. The organization understands it here. So my approach would be, in the NFL, we watched Drake May, who was the leader in the clubhouse over Matthew Stafford with a game to go. You know, your only goal is Mike Vrabel. Get this guy 3 touchdown passes or win an MVP. Vrabel went and decided to tank his young quarterback statistics, and Matthew Stafford threw 1 million touchdowns in the final week, ended up being the MVP. So my question to you is, how do you approach Cooper Flagg down the stretch at this point? Because you know as well as I do, they know he wants to be Rookie of the Year. That is a big deal. So should the offense flow through him? And also, Joe, how are we dealing with his points, his rebounds, and his assists, as opposed to just betting the game tonight?
Yeah, he's going to play. He's the only option they have on this team. But the problem is they're taking on a very motivated Clippers team who is currently trying to lock into the 8th seed, Donnie. And that's important because the 7th and 8th seed only have to win 1 game to make it into the playoffs. If they're lower than that, the Clippers, then they got to play 2, and Kawhi don't want to have to play 2 in a play-in. So they're going to have a very motivated Kawhi Leonard, probably making life miserable for Cooper Flagg here tonight.
Interesting to see how it plays out, as Cooper Flagg is the favorite, as we talked about, to win the Rookie of the Year. But again, I mean, sometimes it always, Joe, goes back to football. And it comes sometimes with a loss that you bet. Over 1.5 touchdown passes from him. Like, dude, he's going to throw like 4 today because that's the goal. Handing the football off on the 2-yard line. Lining your quarterback up at wide receiver. Hey, Vrabel, that dark cloud from the Super Bowl is still raining over you at this point right now. It happens. We'll be back right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the team, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as the favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The chants are coming from the stands. Sell the team. Sell the team. Which team are we looking at? It's a team that I thought had a really good chance to win their division and maybe make some hay and possibly get to the World Series. The team I'm talking about, Joe Ranieri, it's those Boston Red Sox. 2-8 to start the season. The fans, they're upset, Joe. They are.
They should be, Donnie. It's embarrassing what's going on here. They've lost a couple of games they probably should have won, and then they just can't seem to get the hitting, the pitching, and the bullpen all together for the same game to have a full game. There's always one part of the game, one of those ends up faltering and costs them the game. And it ain't going to get any easier with Milwaukee here today, even with Crochet on the mound.
Alex Cora is the manager. We're going to hear from him in just a second, Joe. But you know what I think they need to do? Bring out the Apple Watches, maybe get a trash can or two, turn this season around. But here's Cora talking about the Red Sox struggles right here.
You know, like Sean said today, offensively, that was better. I think we struck out, 4 times, right? But doing play, hit the ball hard. Did a lot offensively. And I think the last 2 days, you can see it. You know, it's been better, but obviously not enough. And that's how it works, you know, and that's why we love it here, right? Because their expectations are up there with us, you know, and right now, you know, we deserve whatever they're thinking, or, you know, we're not playing good baseball, and we know it.
Not playing good baseball, yes. Better turn it around, Joe. Yeah, 2-8 on the season, not looking good. Not looking good.
Donnie, listen, the Brewers scored 4 runs without hitting a ball out of the infield in that game. They were down 3-0, and they got a couple of walks and 3 infield singles and an error by the third baseman. I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, you're not playing good baseball. It's embarrassing. Doesn't matter if you hit the ball and don't strike out. You can't give up 4 runs in an inning without a ball leaving the infield.
All right, let's get to the good stuff here, Joe. And this deals with the New York Mets. You know I'm always passionate about players that get retired, telling the story of Major League Baseball, some of the greatest players to ever play. The Mets are going to officially retire number 15. Now, here's the best part about it, Joe. The Mets will officially retire number 15 on September 19th. If you don't have the picture up there or list the player's name, Joe, I would have no idea who number 15 for the Mets was and why his name should be retired and why his jersey should be retired as well. Carlos Beltran, name retired and going into the Mets Hall of Fame. And I say to myself, you know what? Forget about that. Put a statue out front of the new City Field of him striking out and watching a strike 3 right down the middle to end the Mets season. That's the statue I want for Beltran.
Actually, Donnie, what you should do is just put a Astros jersey on him and a trash can in one hand. And there you go. And you've got Carlos Beltran. I would have absolutely recognized him with a Astros jersey and a trash can for sure.
How about a little Kansas City action? But it just gets to the point, like, what are we doing out here? We're operating our franchise like we will not be playing baseball in 100 years here. Hey, by the way, number 16, Joe, for the 49ers is going to get retired. You immediately go, Joe Montana, of course. Number 13 for the Dolphins is going to get retired. That's Dan Marino. Number 23 for the Bulls is going to, that's Michael Jordan. Number 15 for the Mets. The Bobby Bonilla? No, not Bobby. Lenny Dykstra? No. Daryl's not Daryl Strawberry here. I can't get upset more about this stuff. Stop retiring jerseys. It's ridiculous at this point. Now, granted, when you talk about retiring jerseys, you want all-time greats. Could Mason Miller be an all-time great here? Look at this insane run, Joe. 25 2/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, no runs, 53 Ks. The back end of the bullpen looking sweet for the Padres.
It really does. I mean, and they mowed them down again last night against the Pirates here. So, you know, just like that, all of a sudden, Padres, after a slow start, starting to figure it out. They are lethal, Donnie, with a lead heading into the back half of the game. My goodness, with that bullpen that is lights out. You got a lead heading into the 7th inning. That might be all you need for the Padres in a lot of spots.
Look, get to the playoffs here. It's all about your bullpen. And if you're winning in the 7th inning, you're going to win that game if you're the Padres here. How about this pitching statistic, Joe? And this could be maybe from some new technology coming in. Let me read this to you from Yahoo Sports. No 2-day span ever in the modern era of Major League Baseball featured more walks this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So could that mean, Joe, that Batters know the strike zone, and umpires just can't call strikes. So if it's a ball, they're going to tap their helmet. Because understand this. I brought this up over the weekend to a family member as we were watching a Phillies game. I said, you know what's going to be interesting now, Joe? And you played the game for a long time. The 3-0 count in Major League Baseball. It's a ball, but it's 2 feet off the plate. The ump just gives you the random strike. That's a strike, 3-1. Kyle Schwarber had one of those this weekend where he tapped his helmet on 3-0 and took that walk to first base. Could this be more walks happening now because we're being able to challenge strikes that are actually balls?
Well, it's funny, Donnie, because the hitters absolutely know the strike zone better than that's why they're playing at the level that they are playing at. And that goes from the number 1 hitter to the number 9 hitter. And the fact that now pitchers are going to get away with, just a little outside was a strike.
Yep.
They're going to take a lot more of those pitches there, Donnie, and this is going to be a byproduct of this ABS system.
Absolutely. But also, another byproduct is for pitchers being wild, hitting players and then not liking it. Here's Wilson Contreras here, the Red Sox. He wasn't too happy last night.
It's not just a hit by pitch. That's the 24th time that they hit me in my career, 24th. And that's the 6th time they hit me. And they always say, I'm not trying to hit you. That get old. So next time they hit me again, I'm going to take one of them out. That's what happened. That's a message. That's a message.
I'm telling you, Joe, I do get an appreciation for this because in no other sport, like in football, okay, you're angry at the player. You want to try to hit him hard. Doesn't mean that you can. In basketball, you can't just fight a guy. In hockey, they used to be able to fight, but not so much anymore. You can't just take your stick and carve the other guy up. But in Major League Baseball, like if you want to hit a guy, Joe, you could throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and plunk that guy right in the rib cage, and it's just baseball, as we like to say.
Donnie, and he's bent at Brandon Woodruff, one of the best in the National League, right? And it barely grazed him, by the way. They actually had to go to the replay to actually see whether or not it hit his hands. But is that more about the pitchers or the fact that you keep crowding the plate? What is it, Contreras?
And by the way, like the Barry Bonds era of I'm going to stand on top of the plate and wear body armor so if I get hit, it won't hurt. Take away the body armor. Let's see how close these players actually stand to the plate. We'll be back. More hot topics on the way. It's the early line.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the season, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manute Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
NFL news and notes to end out hour number one. This is usually a lull, right? You have the offseason, the Super Bowl, free agency, and we're still a couple weeks away here from the NFL draft, which then keeps up right away into those rookie camps, OTAs, and before you know it, we'll be into training camp. But this is the time of the year where most teams like to figure out, okay, here's our salary cap. We paid our free agents. Now let's go up and down our roster to see if we have any contract negotiations we need to handle, which could mean, Joe, you know what? Let's restructure a contract or two so we can afford another player. Or, boy, this guy's really good and has wanted a contract in the offseason. Let's go to the New York Giants here. Dexter Lawrence has now requested a trade from the New York Giants. Why? Quote, there hasn't been any progress on contract negotiations between the two parties over the last two off seasons here. The big man, unhappy in the Big Apple.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know that they're going to budge on it. I mean, I get it. He's coming up at the end of an extension, what we say was $90 million extension that he had signed a few years ago, which, by the way, at the time, Donnie, was one of the top 2 or 3 highest paid deals for a defensive lineman like that. But now with the contract coming up, he's got, he's 28. He's got, I think, another 2 years. Well, actually, he's got no guaranteed money in the final 2 years of the deal, so that's why he's trying to. He don't like that here. So, but we'll see. I think it's leverage, Donnie. Right? It's not that he's not a good player or not probably worth it. It's all about leverage, and right now it looks like the Giants have it.
And now let's see if they don't like what they see or the contract can't be met. They trade him away. Maybe there's a hole at defensive tackle. We look at the predictive markets here with Calci, Joe. The New York Giants, first position drafted. Number 2 in line here at 29 cents is the drafted defensive lineman / edge pass rusher. A $100 investment would pay back $345. So if they move on from him, maybe they're looking at defensive line here, which is pretty stacked on that defensive line. But if he goes, maybe they need another D tackle. Let's flip it down to Baltimore and the Charm City. Lamar Jackson, Joe, is he buying into the new regime here? Ravens post a video of Lamar Jackson arriving for the first day of the offseason program. How about that?
Yeah, well, it's there was no secret that he did not like the Harbaugh and Monken combo there. Wasn't a big fan. So I'll tell you right now, they upended the entire organization for you. So you better be there, Donnie, and you better be a leader here. Otherwise, oh boy, there's going to be a lot of head scratching going on with the Ravens.
It wasn't too long ago where Lamar Jackson wanted that new contract, had that knee injury, didn't decide to play a couple games, and all of a sudden they're asking Harbaugh. He's like, don't ask me, ask him. That was a bad deal here. That's a team that should have won a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. We'll see if they can do it now, but first day of OTAs or basically all-season training, looks like he's buying in there, which could be a good sign here for the Ravens. How about Adam Schefter's tweet? How about we just talked about the Ravens? What about the off-season workout programs beginning today on the 7th with Arizona, Atlanta, Buffalo, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Miami, New York Giants, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee? It feels like football season, Joe, is right around the corner.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? But the draft will be here, Donnie, and that's where, hope reigns come draft time, right? Get some fan bases, get a little excited about what could be in the future here, but ultimately, we all know it doesn't matter. The Jets are going to screw it up.
Here's an interesting one, too, out in Las Vegas. We always anticipate that they would screw things up as well. They signed Kirk Cousins, signed up to a good chunk of change, which you like. But Kirk Cousins, to me, Joe, I was only under the impression that, you're not letting me play in Atlanta. I want to go be a starter. So the Raiders sign him. I'm pretty sure they tell, hey, by the way, Kirk, you're never going to start here because we're drafting Mendoza. So now Mendoza is scheduled to meet with the Raiders, but Kirk Cousins is there. I'm not saying there's any problems because there probably won't be the number 1 overall pick, but that was an interesting move of what you told Kirk and what you're now going to tell the number 1 overall pick, slow your roll, or Kirk's not going to be a problem and Kirk's okay with not being a problem where he told you want to be the starter. Interesting dynamic here in Vegas now.
Well, I mean, you guaranteed him another payday. I mean, he's still going to have Atlanta paying half the salary. He's going to have the Raiders guaranteeing the other half.
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, at this point, I'll do whatever you want here. But I think it's a good move for the Raiders because it doesn't put the pressure on on this kid to have to be everything on a rebuild anyway. They are not going to be ready to compete next year. Why get the kid killed? There's still a lot of things the Raiders need to do. And Kirk Cousins, yeah, it makes sense.
It's an interesting dynamic. It is, because Kirk Cousins also is not that guy that's going to rock the boat. Like, I'm not starting.
No.
I'm going to trade me or I'm not showing up. The dude has always put in his work, even if he disagreed. And also, by the way, when he went to Atlanta, they gave him so much money. He's like, are you kidding me? You just drafted a quarterback. Like, this is my team. No, it's not. Now it's your team again. Now you find yourself on a new team at this point. Kirk Cousins' bank only goes higher. That's what we're aiming to do in hour number 2. Coming up next right here, the early line.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The
His
Cleveland
team.
Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think?
I
You're on
mean-
the cover of the season, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done. What?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as the favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2, it's a Tuesday here. Is it sad times here that college basketball feels like we didn't even know you out there? October, November, December, January, February, March into April. Now that season is done because a champion has been crowned in Michigan. We'll get to that in just a few moments, but it just means that things always move, and no matter like, oh, it's never going to get here. No, it always gets here. The Masters is this week. How long has it been since we talked about major championship golf? And here we are. Oh, the NFL season ended with the Super Bowl. It's never going to be here. The draft is this month, which turns into OTAs, then training camp, and away we go. Major League Baseball, 10 games already down on the schedule, cruising through the month of April, Joe. It's a good time here. We say goodbye to a college basketball season. We say hello to the Masters.
We say hello to the Masters. We got a bunch of these really big niche, events coming up. The Kentucky Derby, the race for the Triple Crown will come up. These are all, this time of year, Donnie, where basketball, the NBA playoffs, the NHL Stanley Cup, which feels like it takes forever, by the way. And before we know it, we'll be August and we'll get ready for college football to kick off.
Yeah, I do enjoy the NBA playoffs, especially the first round. Multiple games every single night. And we do the same thing. We're like, wow, so many games every day. 3 games here, which turns into 2 games a day, which turns into 1 game a day, which turns into a game every other day. And then you're off into the summer at that point here at that time. And also, Joe, the way we forgot it, the WNBA is also going to be coming underway sooner than later at this point. We'll have some fun with that as well. But let's get to the hottest topics across the sports landscape. The early lineup. Michael Malone, Washington Wizards head coach. Nope. The UNC Tar Heels? Where did that come from? Out of nowhere, Joe. That news dropped.
Why? There were some concerns here. The big problem that North Carolina had is that all the boosters were getting ready to pull their money here. But apparently he's got enough support with the boosters that they're not worried about the boosters showing up with the money in order to be able to spend more than, I don't know, what the $16 million they spent last year on players that didn't work out. I want people to understand, I don't think he's bringing the Joker with him to UNC. I just don't think that's possible. But he does bring a whole lot of experience of dealing with guys that make millions of dollars and more than he does, which is exactly going to fit in here with what's happening in college basketball.
You're hired to be fired all over the sports landscape, but more so, again, in pro sports. Hey, the guys start to tune you out, but I was very surprised that Michael Malone didn't get another job in the NBA, sat it out here,
me too.
Now headed back to Carolina. And as you pointed out, Joe, with your Caffeinated Joe in hour number one, this is either going to be an unbelievable move that everybody's going to start copying what North Carolina did with Bill Belichick and Michael Malone, or did you see that case study? You can't do that. Old is out. New is in. Let's go with that route. We'll see if it works out there. But Michael Malone, head coach of UNC. We talked also about Dexter Lawrence in the last segment. He wants out of the Big Apple. Everybody wants new money. And why? And that salary cap goes up every single year. And you see some of the contracts that are being signed, like Jordan Davis in Philadelphia as the number 2 defensive tackle. You want your money. As Joe said, when your guaranteed money runs out, you want more of that guaranteed money.
You do, and that's the whole thing. He doesn't have any of it left coming up in that extension that he signed. So, listen, it makes sense, but the problem is, he's been there from the start. He's done a lot of losing as a player. So, you know what? It wouldn't be the worst thing maybe to get a change of scenery, right, Donnie? I mean, I can't blame the guy for going, I love the new coaching and all of that good stuff, but you kept the general manager, and tell you the truth, I'm not buying it. Get me out of here. I'll make the money someplace else.
The G-Man at a crossroads right here. Should be that next level season. Get some of those guys back healthy here. Try to make a playoff run. Jackson Dart has your young quarterback, and Dexter Lawrence is like, let me get mine. Which, hey, when you're a professional athlete, your goal is to make some money here. Same thing with Angel Reese. They wanted more money in the WNBA. They're going to get more money this year, but Angel Reese not going to get that money in Chicago. Traded to Atlanta in a blockbuster deal yesterday.
Huge for the WNBA, right? That announcement came out. I mean, listen, like it, love it, or hate it. The reality is she is one of the biggest names in the WNBA, and she makes it extremely exciting, even though she doesn't score a lick, but she does bring a level of toughness. So, yeah, that's a big name for the WNBA, and you usually don't see those kinds of names moved like you just did here yesterday.
If you're an NIL agent right now, it's time to attack. Where? On Rocky Top. You might have a player that's in the portal and goes, whoa, Tennessee's got no players. You guys want to end up with a couple players? You might as well sign one of mine. 0 players on the roster. Now, some people might panic. If you also remember, when Coach Calipari got fired from Kentucky, took the job at Arkansas, he sat at a press conference and goes, I don't even have any players in the building. And it worked out just fine a couple months later and certainly had a decent run this year with some talented players. Tennessee will fill in their roster, but this is the age of get used to it. Everybody, every year is a free agent.
They have not one returning player of the 8 that opted into the transfer portal here now. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't make the tournament, Donnie. They made the tournament, but then they got bounced, and, well, that was the end of that. So, yeah, welcome to the new era of college athletics, especially in basketball, where every year you get a brand new team, Donnie.
How about the new era of Major League Baseball / football players, NBA players, not understanding what a soft tissue injury is, Joe? Had my share way back in the day, and I always love to read it. How many times have you seen that superstar wide receiver go to a post-game press conference? Hey, what happened in the fourth quarter? Saw you grab your hamstring. I just felt like it cramped up a little bit on me, only for me to go to Twitter and be like, that guy's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. And the next day comes out like, yeah, he's going to be out at least a month at this point. Well, Juan Soto went 1st to 3rd and hurt his calf. Had to exit the game. They sat him the next day. Well, we actually on the program had a video of Juan Soto going like, couldn't believe it, man. Woke up today, feel awesome. Yeah, you felt so awesome. You're out for the next 3 weeks, Juan.
Yeah, see, sometimes Yankee fans, it all works out in the end, right? Because he could be on your IL right now making $750 million, but instead he's on the Mets roster. So kudos there. Be careful what you wish for sometimes, Mets fans. Careful.
By the way, the New Jersey Devils, and this seems like an epidemic mostly in hockey, Joe. Stumbling down the stretch, maybe a chance to make the playoffs, but probably just playing spoiler. They love to fire general managers, head coaches, replace them, maybe get on a winning run at this point. But there you go. Fitzy, the Devils have parted ways.
I don't. This whole last couple of days in the NHL is hilarious. Patrick Waugh gets fired. The Boer gets hired. I mean, we're a week away from the start of the postseason. Devils doing the same thing. We got front office shakeups all over the place. It's getting a little out of control here. But hey, whatever you got to do to motivate the team, I guess.
But, and also, I live in New Jersey, but again, I'm in South Jersey, so I'm just outside of Philadelphia, and that's my city that I claim, as opposed to the Prudential Center in Newark or even further up there in the Meadowlands. Like, growing up as a kid, I used to get a kick out of it. The Devils were a good hockey team. They played at the Meadowlands at Brendan Byrne Arena, where their only fans, the joke was, if they had 10,000 in the building, that's only 10,000 fans they had. And throughout the 1990s with Marty Brodeur and the left wing lock, they were sensational with Scott Stevens winning Stanley Cups. But I always used to get a kick out of it and knock them, Joe, where they would have a championship parade. Like if you did it in Philadelphia, it goes down Broad Street. If you did it in Manhattan, you go through the Canyon of Heroes here, right? But now they used to go through the parking lot, Joe, as their parade for the Devils, man. Shout out the Devils.
It's been a long, right, Donnie? It's been a while since they've made. It just feels like it was yesterday where they were kings of the hill here, but not so much anymore. It's a new era in the NHL where the Buffalo Sabres could be at the top of the heap, believe that or not.
Exactly. Look, man, times are changing at this point. Even like with the Devils playing at Brendan Byrne Arena, they moved down to Newark and played to Prudential at the Rock is what they call it here. It's a nice new arena, but also like the Nets were in New Jersey. You want to talk about two teams that were in a highly dense area, but just overshadowed by the city across the river. You always get it. Like nobody went to Nets games. Nobody went to Devils games. And these teams were winning championships here in the NHL. And here we are at this point. So there we go. Running a little amok here on my home state of the Garden State right here. But hey, I'm not a Devils fan. I'm not a Nets fan either. And by the way, we do have some Devils fans at the network and certainly used to have those here. I still like to say I never met a Devils fan in my entire life, Joe, and they had some success in the past. Just the way it is. Taking shots. But you know what I want to do? You see that. I saved the Masters topic for next. I love this topic, and you will too. Come on back.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the season, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done. What?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, the Masters is here. Love to see it, people, because why? It is the official changing of the guard for the spring, where the azaleas will be in bloom, 70 to 80-degree temperatures, we hope, this week at Augusta, and clear and sunny skies, and an awesome Sunday afternoon. As down that back 9 through Amen corner we go, Joe. But before we get there, you got to feed the people inside the ropes. Then we say to ourselves, and we are trained, you want to show up to a Philadelphia Eagles game like myself, you want to show up to a Flyers game or a Phillies game, you're going to pay out the nose for stuff that you can get for just a couple bucks outside the stadium. We're conditioned to that. But the Masters, they seem like they're stuck in like 1975 with some of their prices, Joe, on what you can afford and what you can eat, which includes an egg salad sandwich, $1.50. Pimento cheese, Joe, $1.50. How about a pork barbecue sandwich? $3 here. Load up, people. And by the way, $75.75 will get you every single item on the menu there.
Well, that's impressive, Donnie, because you don't think so. They're not making all their money at the concession stands, is what you're telling me. Then the only problem is it's about $100,000 a ticket to get on the ground. So it's the least they can do is give you basically free pimento sandwiches. Huh? What do you think?
Yeah, the prices they're charging, you might as well just like hand them out and be like, okay, here's your ticket voucher where you can get a couple of things here free, because it is nice that you can get down to business. But also, like, I never went to the Masters, but from what I hear, like the pimento cheese, like 2 pieces of white bread and like 1 slice of pimento cheese, like I don't think we're getting like that Katz's Deli in New York where it's like, a 1 pound sandwich that you're getting. But Joe, if you were at the Masters, like what would you order off that menu? Like if you said, you know what, I'm hungry, it's lunchtime or breakfast, like what would you get off the menu?
I would ask them to point me to the nearest bar that had bourbon, and we'd be good to go from there. Maybe some. Do you have any cocktail nuts? Like, what do you got? Yeah, liquid. Go strictly liquid there. I'm not wolfing down. I don't care. It's $1.50. I'm not eating a pimento cheese sandwich walking around Augusta. It'll be drink in my hand walking around Augusta.
Now, Joe, I fast, as you know, where now in the afternoon, I used to eat right after the show, so I'd eat around like 9:15, 9:30. I pushed that back to the afternoon, so eat around like 2 to 3 o'clock. So I would be loading up, but also, you give me a little Georgia peach ice cream sandwich here.
Okay.
Georgia peach caramel popcorn, like getting into that stuff. Now, again, lactose intolerant for the most part I am, but I still enjoy some ice cream out here in these streets. But also, I got a question for you. You know me. I love myself a Mr. Goodbar. I probably eat on average 5 to 7 a week. What is the Masters candy bar? We can't buy that outside of Augusta? Is it a fake Snickers? Is it a knockoff? Is it just chocolate? I need to know more about this Masters candy bar.
It feels like it could very well be a Snickers that they just repackaged, Donnie. Yeah. Oh.
Dark milk chocolate. We're getting the producers tell me dark milk. No, see, I don't do dark milk chocolate though. I want the regular milk chocolate.
Yeah, you don't want the dark. So it kind of almost sounds like a Heath bar is what it really sounds like there, maybe. So, but all right, listen, are they passing those out for free, Donnie? Does everyone get one of these Master candy bars, or is that $1 or $1.50 as well?
It's $2.25. But by the way, just bring up the dark chocolate. We've all been through this, Joe, as kids or throughout your life. You get the bag of miniatures. Like it has all like the Mr. Goodbar, the Snickers, the
Love
whatever
those.
others,
Crackle
or whatever. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But they always have the dark chocolate in there.
Yes.
When everybody's through, nobody ever takes the dark chocolate. Why do they put the dark chocolate in there when nobody wants the dark chocolate, Joe?
No, I used to throw them in my coffee, Donnie. I would take the dark chocolate and just drop it in and let it melt in the coffee. That's not a bad idea. That's the best way to appreciate that. Correct.
All right. Next big deal here at the Masters. Now, the champion, which I think is tonight, Joe, by the way, on Tuesday night, the Champions Dinner, where the previous champion gets to pick whatever he wants and can serve that to only other champions. I do think it's a pretty cool tradition where it's like, hey, I'm bringing the wife, my son, and my daughter-in-law in here. No, you can't. It's the champions only, and they feast for that night. So I'm going to ask you in a few moments, Joe, what you would serve. But going back in time, DraftKings put this out here. Bubba Watson's Masters Championship dinner wasn't a big hit back in the day. A traditional Caesar salad. I love Caesar salad. It's a nice start. Grilled chicken breast is what you're serving as the main. Joe, grilled chicken breast, which probably isn't seasoned all that well. We can't be just serving grilled chicken breast as the main event here to a Masters champion dinner. I'm going to have to go out for pizza after that meal, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Bubba Watson. He's about as vanilla as it is. So, yeah, chicken, like dried chicken breast and a Caesar salad. Way to go. Way to think outside the box there, Bubba. Yeah, no, Donnie, it's very simple for me. There's only one meal you serve, and that's it. And that's tomahawk steaks for everybody. If you go big or you go home. That's it. Meat and potatoes, tomahawk steaks around the horn. Enjoy, guys. We are good to go as I waddle around the course here trying to defend my title.
It's such an easy thing, Joe. And even if you just want to take it up a level, you got to have a quality steak on that menu. Then you can throw in even some surf and turf here, which you can mix it together. You need the loaded baked potato, a damn good salad to start off, maybe even a shrimp cocktail, and end it with a lovely dessert. It's not hard to please the palate. And hey, by the way, I can't wait to see what we have here. Grilled chicken breast. Nonsense at this point, which means, Joe, if you're serving grilled chicken breast, you're probably not going to be a repeat champion here at the Masters. However, Scotty Scheffler is the favorite once again, but, Joe, we're not seeing plus 275, plus 300, plus 350. We're at 5-1 on Scotty Scheffler. Is he as dominant as he was supposed to be? Because he's still the heavy favorite, but we used to see him even more as a favorite than what's showing up at Augusta this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen him at this price in it feels like in a long time here, Donnie. Hey, look, you can't count him out, right? Let's be honest. But I also think you can wait to see after the first round because it's where he has struggled all year long. He gets off to these crazy slow starts, and next thing you know, he's middle of the pack, and you can get yourself a better number on Scotty Scheffler after the first round, I think. But I mean, listen, is Rory going to be there? Yes, Rory's going to be there. DeChambeau, but the same guys are going to be there, Donnie, that are always there because they understand. Course knowledge is huge in this tournament, and the guys that have it are usually the guys that are always contending or have won in years past.
Absolutely. And also, Scotty Scheffler to win one or more majors, currently trading at 55 cents here on Kalshi. You know me, Joe. I'm already loading up on the no. $100 investment that Scheffler doesn't win a single major this year. $213 is your payback. Best bets are up next. Don't want to miss out. You went to sleep yesterday? How about today?
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the team, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Miami today laying 17.5. Miami wins, get a load of this, 152. When you hear 152, I don't care if you're laying 100. You're thinking you're winning that bet, right? They win 152 to 136. They only win by 16. Washington get the backdoor cover.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as the favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't you be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Best bets are in this segment, a little fade the public poll, and away we go. But when hot topics pop up, Joe, we got to talk about them here. One of those hot topics that we've seen the past couple years is, should they continue the dunk competition or just end it altogether? Because you're not getting the superstars up. It's a boring and it's a bland event. How about this from Yahoo Sports? Shaquille O'Neal and TNT Sports are launching a professional dunking league called Dunkman. Debuting this summer on TNT, the league will feature 24 of the world's best dunkers, where they will be 4 group stage events culminating in the Dunkman World Championship and a grand prize of $500,000. Here's the interesting part from my perspective on this, Joe, is this event, sponsored by Shaq and TNT, if it goes mainstream, will effectively kill the NBA slam dunk competition. Because if you're going to get 24 of the world's best dunkers innovating and their only goal is to dunk and do tremendous things, the point of watching the NBA dunk competition is what? Nothing. Now, you might see great dunkers on YouTube, but not mainstream. You're not turning on your television to watch dunk competitions. If this happens, Joe, it's a death nail for the dunk competition in the NBA. They should just end it.
To be fair, Donnie, the dunk competition was killed a decade ago. So the fact that they have kept it around is all on their fault. So this won't be the end of it. They've already done a great job of ruining it in the NBA. But I do find it fascinating that you are going to find enough guys to be able to put together a dunk man league, but yet we got to have guys from like a G League and Max McClung.
Yeah.
We got to have guys like him are the only ones that you can get to actually show up and do anything in the NBA version. So I'll be interested to see exactly if this is able to take off, or hey, listen, at the very least, if it does take off, Donnie, it shows the NBA, boy, you screwed up with the dunk competition at the All-Star game.
By the way, the NBA dunk competition has led us to believe that the NBA players should be in it, which is the way it was for a long time. They don't want to do it. So answer me this question, Joe. All-Star Weekend, why not just take the final 4 dunkers in this competition and have them square off to do electric dunks? We don't care who the person is anymore because the superstars don't want to be in it. So if you're going to look to elevate the dunk competition, give it to guys who just want to innovate for 12 months out of the year and try new dunks and put them on a high stage. I think they'll watch that more than, who's this NBA player? What kind of dunk was that? Never heard of the guy? Change the channel. But we got other business here at this time, Joe. We like to reach out and see what the people are talking about. Here's our Fade the Public poll. We asked you a simple question this morning. What question was that? Who is going to win the Masters this year? 4 players: Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, and Rory McIlroy. Not just, hey, money line plus 100s. No, effective with their odds here, Joe. I put it down for Bryson DeChambeau. I think he goes long this week at Augusta and will be in the mix on Sunday. And that 10-1 price looks good.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Donnie, because 3 of those guys have already have a green jacket. 1 guy doesn't. But we know that all 3 of those guys that have green jackets, they were so close on a bunch of other times, Donnie, that eventually they broke through. Yeah. I look at the last 2 Masters for DeChambeau, tied for 5th and 6th. So we're talking about top 5, top 10. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think he breaks through here. The guy just won his last 2 live tours. Tournaments. He's in perfect form for it at 10-1.
Perfect form at 10-1. Perfect form last night at 2-0. Here's our best bets. Let's go. Bye. Joe Ranieri gave you the UConn Huskies. You know how it works out perfectly? They didn't win the game, but they covered the point spread. For myself, Portland Trailblazers. They didn't win the game, but they covered the point spread. Joe, where do we go tonight? Baseball, hockey, basketball. The floor is yours.
Well, Donnie, I'm actually going to the White Sox for a little afternoon baseball. 3:10, I believe, first pitch.
Hey.
How about Trevor Rogers on the mound for Baltimore here? They got the win last night, broke off the Schneid in a 2-1 game. I think Smith is going for the White Sox with his 28 ERA. I think Baltimore continues to roll here. I think Rogers dominates the White Sox. I'll take them. I'd even lay the 1.5.
O's plus money at -1.5 for your boy DRS headed to the association tonight. Gave you the Trailblazers, who stink. They actually covered their spread. I'm going to give you another team today that stinks. It's the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, I just ripped them here, but I'm taking them tonight. 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on Milwaukee on the road. That line overnight was around -1.5, but the spread has actually increased to 2.5, which typically isn't a great sign, but I don't care. I'm backing the Nets. Why? Nobody wants to take the Nets tonight, Joe. It's your boy DRS. He's taking the Nets tonight. Let's get that public fade and continue on a 4-0 night to start the week for us as we head into Wednesday. The prediction markets, they're coming up next. A new way to invest your money. Come on and find out where we're going next.